Compelling 20 overs of T20 cricket. That 164 for 6 is where England have ended after Virat Kohli put them in to bat. This is our mid-inning show on ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by Realme X7 5G and X7 Pro 5G. Ian Bell, Sanjay Manjrekar, both waiting as the batsmen had to, considering the amount of pace that the bowlers seem to take off the ball on this surface in Ahmedabad. Sanjay, 164. Who's the happier team at halftime?
India, and very happy because they've got a pitch to their liking, a pitch that suits India more than England, and Virat Kohli won an important toss. So clearly a different surface after India went down in the first match. A little less watering, I guess, on this one.
Okay, if that is the first comment from Sanjay, then I'd go to Ian and wonder 164 is always that sort of T20 score. We're not quite sure. Is it actually as good or is it not? But if Sanjay's assessment is that this is a dry surface, would England be okay? That's not bad for 164. It wasn't easy on that surface, or they're still short from where they could have been at one stage, Benny?
They probably feel that they're a little short. I think credit to India. I think they really won that last 5 overs, didn't they? I thought their execution of the slower ball, wide slow ball, away from a lot of the left-handers actually was excellent. They read the pitch really well. England probably felt they could probably had the platform to get to 170, 180, which I think would be a really good game or game on. But yeah, I think India will probably be the happiest of the two. But no real batter looked in and set and like it was particularly easy. So I think, again, they'll have at the back of their mind that they've got a good bowling unit. Again, that restricted India to 120 so the other day. So they'll be confident. So I think this is a good game that we've got on our hands for the second innings.
Just 35 of the last 5. Now, again, perspective will be better at the end of the game. But from what we've seen of India's bowlers, Sanjay, there's a lot to like about SHARDUL THAKUR, the T20 bowler.
Yes, he's grown, over the years. He's been playing IPL forever and was a revelation in Australia when he played Test cricket as well. So now he's been this kind of a bowler. He's bowled a number of overs in all formats and all pitches. So he's one of those, versatile bowler. Every ball that he bowls is different. There's a lot of mind reading of the batsman that he does. I was thoroughly impressed with him in Australia. And I think he's now in the top 5 Indian seamers, whatever the format India plays in. And this was a pitch that he quickly assessed, the pitch where you bowl more slow deliveries, not a single seam-up delivery in the last over that he bowled. He's become a really good bowler now. Quietly confident, he's slightly understated, but as I said, a real seasoned bowler who had a terrific night, I thought.
Benny, thoughts on what you've seen of SHARDUL THAKUR?
Really well. That was also said. I think Sanjay summed it up well. I think he really, or India in particular, assessed conditions really quickly and they executed fantastically, especially in that last 5 overs. And I think from England's point of view, it's nearly like playing Bravo sometimes, is you've got to try and play for the slower ball and the change-ups, the quicker ball. So they probably didn't assess that too well, England, at this time. But again, I think credit has to go to India. I think we gave credit to the England bowlers in the first game. I thought India's bowling in that last 5 overs in particular was outstanding.
He does play alongside Dwayne Bravo in the IPL. He's picked up a trick or two from him. SHARDUL THAKUR has used it well. Did make Owen Morgan look a little silly, and that's something for the formidable T20 batsman that he is. BHUVNESWAR Kumar bowling 4 overs. Sanjay, is it fair to say he's looking a lot like the BHUVNESWAR Kumar at his prime, at least on the evidence of today?
Yes, and even in the first match, I thought he bowled well. He's another, intelligent T20 bowler. And in the first match, the pitch was different. So you saw BHUVNESWAR Kumar not bowling too many slow balls, but keeping it in that narrow corridor that he loves to do. Today, there were a lot more slow deliveries. So BHUVNESWAR Kumar's form in the last game on a different pitch and on a pitch like today is heartening. It's good. It doesn't look rusty. So this may not be BHUVNESWAR Kumar at his best yet, but only good signs so far.
I'm wondering how hard it must be for a bowler to make this sort of comeback. The last time BHUVNESWAR Kumar played a T20I before this series, we have to go back to December 2019, Madi, and always that conversation, is he still going to be the same? Must be some challenge for a fast bowler to come back and try and replicate what he was or try and replicate this sort of form.
Definitely, I think against an England side at the moment that are very aggressive. If you're slightly off with your line or your length, they're going to come at you pretty hard. But what we do know with, he's a world-class bowler. He's skillful operator, swings the ball both ways, lots of variations, intelligent, not loads of pace. So his craft and his skill is very high to bowl in the power play. But yeah, only good signs really for India, as we know that their depth is pretty big. And when he's playing well again, it's just adding that strength in that squad to India's T20 campaign.
Okay, let's talk about the batting side of it. And Ian, maybe you can help us understand better why even batsmen that were there for a while didn't quite look like they were still comfortable as their innings got deeper. Just what do you make of batting on this surface?
Yeah, I think we saw it, to be honest, in the first game. I don't think it's been an absolute, like a 200 plus kind of pitch. It's not been easy. And when people have got in, it has got a little easier. But yeah, I think I think we've got to be, I think both bowling units have done well. England were exceptional in that first game. But again, I think India made that really hard for England in that last 5 overs. So their execution and their planning was brilliant. It would have been nice. Obviously, England would have liked Morgan probably there in the 19th over. He played brilliantly again. Probably looked actually the most fluent of the middle order players for England. And has been an important finisher. Again, that role of number 5, number 6, which he does in the IPL as well, I think will be important for England into the World Cup, is that, finishing those kind of innings, which I'm pretty sure he would have liked to have been there a couple more overs. But yeah, like I said, we'll see again, isn't it? It's until both teams have batted on it. But yeah. England probably feel like they were probably 20 light there in the position they were in.
He's striking at 140, which is the highest strike rate of this innings. Now, is that a reflection that it's too much of a challenge? Will conditions sort of change, Sanjay? How should England have batted? Could they have batted any better on this surface? And will we see India have the same sort of challenge, or will that change in the second half?
England struggled a bit with the pace in the pitch, the lack of pace in the pitch. It was interesting just watching Jason Roy, go through his innings and his reaction after he got out. I thought he was playing really well. And it's a bit of a learning curve for him because he set his own standards of batting and he wasn't really getting, all his shots that he's trying, but he was going at a pretty decent strike rate and getting the runs on board. More experience of Indian conditions, and he would have thought to himself, this is a different pitch, and this is not a 200 pitch, so I think I'm going fine here. And had he continued batting, would have helped England because the new batsman coming in can't go striking immediately. So I thought he was a little frustrated with the way he was going, but he was doing fine. And all the other batsmen, struggled with the lack of pace. We've seen Ben Stokes, even in the IPL, when he gets these dry pitches in March, April, he needs a bit of time to get going. And the one ball that he hammered on BHUVNESWAR was the one that was seam up. All the other deliveries he struggled too. So perhaps the batting style and just the way the England batsmen bat, this wasn't really the pitch to their liking. But having said that, 8:45 is when the innings finished, and we didn't see any sign of dew. So the pitch continues to remain dry. They might have something, the English bowlers, to use. But as I said, the Indian seam bowlers and Washington Sundar and Chahal more, I think, adept at using drier conditions than perhaps the England attack that we have here.
That's interesting. Now, England bowled so well in that last game, Mali, that the bowlers would have watched this first innings. Can they get an idea or two that they need to change the plan of attack? Can the likes of Jofra Archer and Sam Curran also exploit from the surface what Shardul and Bhuvaneshwar did?
Definitely, they would have watched that, and they're talking about that right now. The only thing I would say with England there, I think the only thing they got stuck, we talked about it with the amount of left-handers they had in that middle order. So that ball, slower ball in particular, is turning away from their hitting zones. Whether they could have maybe used Chris Jordan a bit earlier as a right-hander just to change it up a little bit. But again, that's fine lines. I think England, definitely. I think they're going to have to use, as they will. Sam Curran will use his cutters and slower balls. Tom Curran will do the same. A lot of back of the hand slower balls. I think for Jofra, it's dangerous to just change up all the time. He's got to use his strength as well at the start, which is heavy length with good pace. But again, we know he does have some good change-ups. So I think this is what Owen Morgan wants as well from this tour. He wants to put his bowling unit and his players under pressure before we go to a World Cup. So, yeah, fascinating to see how they do it. But I think that they'll be watching and learning exactly what India have just done now and take that forward.
When you have a target in mind, you just play the way you're supposed to play, or does Ishan Kishan now or KL Rahul now play a little differently? Right, 160 is what we've got, but Ishan Kishan's in this team for a reason. Sanjay, is it going to be easy for him to just tee off?
Nerves were clearly there for the newcomers. I mean, Surya Kumar Yadav with his fielding, Ishan Kishan as well. So nerves will play a huge part, I think, in the way they'll go about. This is not Mumbai Indians. IPL, if that was the case, Ishan Kishan, you know what to expect. KL Rahul didn't get too many in the last match. He hasn't played too much of cricket. But having said that, India should be able to manage, eventually to get to that target. There's a lot of depth in their bowling as well. There isn't any obvious dew. but just the coolness of the night that sets in as we get into sort of 10 p.m. and stuff like that, just gets a little easier to bat.
Sure.
So I think, and yes, yeah, Ian Bell is right. They've got two bowlers now, blessing in disguise in a way. Sam Curran is playing in place of Mark Wood, and Sam Curran, Tom Curran and Sam Curran, who will take the pace off a little bit. You have to think that India will find a way to get there.
Okay, I'm just waiting to see who takes the new ball, and I'll get a quick word in from Believe on that. But before that, one more small positive, or rather big positive for India. Box ticked, Sanjay. Hardik Pandya bowling 4 overs and looked all right.
Yeah, that's why they were able to rest one of their bowlers because they had the confidence that Hardik Pandya will bowl his 4 overs, and that's great. I mean, if he continues doing that, see, India will struggle a bit when the pitch is absolutely flat. Belters, India might have a problem with their bowling, the bowling unit that they have, but on pitches like this, Hardik Pandya finds a way to bowl 4 tidy overs.
Sam Curran as the new ball, Billy. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad option. Again, if there is any swing in the air, then he'll get it in that first over. But yeah, interesting start. I think England, Owen Morgan's blessed with so many different options for the new ball. I think this power play is huge. We saw England so dominant in that first power play the other day. It'll be interesting if India can come out of this power play 50-50 or on top. I think they'll go on and win this quite comfortably. England, if they have the same kind of power plays they did the other day, and they've got those firepower up front, I think this will be an exciting game.
I'm curious to figure why Sam Curran in for this one. You think if the pitch is a bit slow, Adil Rashid was a nice surprise package last time with the new ball and bowled well. What's Morgan thinking right now? Why Sam Curran and not Adil Rashid after he bowled well in the last game, Belly?
Well, I think you said it there. It was a surprise, wasn't it? I think it caught everyone a little bit off the. So if you do it again, it's not quite the same surprise, is it? I think I wouldn't be surprised if he does bowl one in the power play at the right time. Maybe if they get a wicket up front and Kohli comes in, 2 right-handers at the crease. And he obviously got his wicket in the first game. Maybe he will use him, but I would expect him to play at least bowl 1 over in the power play.
All right. Early wicket, Sanjay Manjrekar. Who walks in? Kohli or Surya Kumar Yadav or Shreyas Iyer? Or who walks in if there's an early wicket?
I'd like to see Surya Kumar Yadav walk in. If Virat Kohli is going to try his bench strength and the next gen of T20 batsmen, might as well give them a better platform to come and show their ways.
Why not? Why not? It should be fun. I tell you what, it's not as easy a game to call at this point. We've got from Ian Bell and Sanjay Manjrekar's words that India would be happy with that. England would think they need a little more. They can make this score look like a lot more. Let's see how things go. Pick up the chat at the end of it on ESPN Cricket for Match Day, powered by Realme X7 5G and X7 Pro 5G.